Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into the Lady K Chat podcast. I am your host, Lady K, and today I'm going to tell you about today's show, which is called Celibate. And today is the part one where my guest and I just have open dialogue on what made him turn to celibacy. Tune in right now. See you soon.
The following podcast is a Lady K Enterprises production.
Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for all women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationships, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today's episode of Celibate. And yes, we are talking about this topic. Listen, everyone, I know it's touchy. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. People might look at you weird. They might even look at you funny, but I'm here to tell you today it's okay, and you are not alone. But today I have the pleasure of sharing this platform with someone who's going to help me talk about this celibacy thing, okay? Listen, please help me welcome this brother who has practiced celibacy for almost 10 years, guys. So, welcome, Mr. Yediydeyah Allen. Did I get that right?
Close enough, Kalima. Close enough. It's Yediydeyah.
Listen, everybody, I've been trying to practice his name because I didn't want to butcher it because I hate when people butcher my name. But he said I got it close enough, so I thank you so much.
No worries at all, and thank you for having me. This is a real pleasure.
You are welcome. Listen, I appreciate it because, listen, you don't understand that it is so odd for me to run into a brother who said, yes, I am celibate, and I've been practicing so long. I'm like, what? That blew my mind. I'm like, no, I have to talk to him, and the whole world needs to know who he is because this brother has discipline, and I love it. So you already know, and I'm sure the ladies are probably wondering too, what made you say, you know what, I just want to be celibate?
Well, I can tell you that it was not an easy decision. That's for sure, right? Especially like when you're used to just being free, quote unquote, or going with the flow, or whatever the case may be, right? And I had a talk with a dear spiritual brother of mine who is no longer with us, but I had a talk with him, and he kind of really broke it down to me. It was like, look, your body is your temple. If you want to do what's pleasing in the sight of the Father, you kind of have to really kind of honor your body, which is His temple. And and treat it accordingly, and based upon the word, we're not supposed to engage in either extramarital sex, which is adultery. Typically, right, and I don't want to get into the details, right, but typically, right, that's extramarital sex is adultery unless you have, unless you practice polygamy, which is a whole other conversation.
Right.
And then there's fornication, which is sex before marriage, as well as entertaining, other deities and other mighty ones. Again, different conversation for a different day. And so going along the lines of fornication, which is, in today's speak, right, having sex before marriage. And, if I claim that I want to live a certain way, if I claim I want to live by the word, if I claim I want to live by whatever faith and belief practice that I have, then you have to do the ordinances of the words thereof. You can't just say, yeah, I'm gonna be a Muslim, no disrespect. Hey, I'm gonna be a Muslim, but I'm gonna eat pork. That that just doesn't go together.
Right.
So taking that into mind and thinking about how I wanted my life to go and how I wanted to be, how I wanted to please, my Father, and how, I wanted to truly do make my body a temple. I made a conscious decision to be celibate. Now I know that there are, I don't want to say there's different forms of celibacy, but how celibacy manifests itself is differently. So for example, right, in the traditional sense, celibacy is, you wait to have sex until you're married. Again, because of faith or belief purposes, right? Or I don't want to say religious because religious is man-made, but for faith and belief purposes, right? You wait to have sex until you're married. There are other forms of celibacy which kind of border along the lines of like being like a eunuch or like a nun. Like you're not going to have sex at all because you want to remain focused on kingdom work, as the expression goes. So my form of celibacy in this case is waiting to have sex until I am married. And that decision was made about, as you alluded to earlier, that decision was made about, I would say, let's just say 9 years for the sake of argument. We'll say 9 years. It's definitely 8, definitely bordering on 9, if not at 9. But we're not at 10 yet. We're getting there. We're not at 10 years yet, but we're getting there.
Right. And that's why I said in the beginning, almost, because that's still good. Let me tell you something. Just because you're not there yet, that's still great. Even that you put 9 years in. And you said something profound while you was talking. You said, you want to go on faith-based, not religious. But I picked up that a lot of people like to pick and choose, right? Whatever faith that they believe in, what they want to go by and what they don't want to go by. But when you say, you really want to do what's pleasant in your Father's eye, I commend you for that. Because a lot of people are like, yeah, Lord, I love you, but my flesh is talking.
He understands, he understands,
right.
Girl,
and he does understand. He does understand. But here's the key thing. When you actually make that sole decision to say, I want to please him, that right there, that gives him everything. And that's what I know we probably believe in different Bibles, but in the word it says, obedience is better than sacrifice.
Absolutely.
He loves that part. He loves that you just want to humble yourself. He understands it comes with challenges, but the fact that you said, I made a decision, Kalima, and I'm sticking to it. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't an easy decision. Don't get me wrong. And it's definitely is one that is hard to do, like on a daily basis.
Right.
I'd be lying if I started saying, yes, it's easy. Right. But the benefits that I have gained from it, oh my goodness, you have no idea.
Listen, but we're just going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Lady K Enterprises are now licensed in the state of Pennsylvania and New York to help you with your insurance needs from auto, homeowner, life insurance, and home security. For additional information, please text the word insurance to 844-446-5374. Again, for additional information, please text the word insurance to 844-446-5374.
I love that. We're on the same accordance because my next question to you was, what are the benefits of the celibacy?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. But I think if you allow me to take a step back, that whoever practices celibacy, they have to know what they're doing it for, and I know there's celibacy versus abstinence, right? Even though the physical aspect is not having sex, right? You could be abstinent until you meet Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, and they knock your world out. That's something different.
Right.
But when you want to practice celibacy and you want to fully realize the benefits of it, you have to kind of be prepared for it. So one of the benefits that I have received is just that you get so much clarity just in life in general, right? When you take that sexual equation out of your life, you're able to look at things differently. You're able to evaluate things differently. You're able to evaluate relationships with people, evaluate people as a whole, evaluate your emotional, your psychological, your physical, essence and being. Absolutely. It's just, oh my goodness, you have no idea. And then when you want to engage in someone in a relationship type manner, since you are already practicing, celibacy, you're not looking to, looking to engage with them in a sexual manner. So then you can actually truly get to know them and truly get to know who they truly are. Because if you take sex out of the equation, what is there left for you to gain? There's a lot.
Absolutely.
But you have to just be willing to go through it, and you gain so much, especially when you think about what is it that I want out of a partner.
Right.
Again, you take sex out of it, okay, well, I want someone to be able to take care of me when I'm sick. I want someone who's going to be with me when the chips are up and versus when the chips are down. I want someone who is not really caught up on materialistic things. I mean, the list could go on and on and on, right? As opposed to, I know there's some people who say, I want a partner who is great in bed. That's nice and all, but you can get someone that's great in bed and treat you like trash. Right. So, it's is that really what you want? And, just gaining that clarity and that perspective, I'm telling you, I don't want to say it's life altering, but if you're up for it, it can be.
Right, and I understand that. And you said something because you're in my head. You gotta get out of my head, because because one of my key things that I love to say is that take sex out the equation. And myself, I'm celibate as myself, and I always keep saying, I truly want to experience a relationship where sex is not in the equation, because I want to know, is this person really true for me, or are they here for me, or they truly here for me? If sex is not in the equation, are they still willing to do the nice things for me? If sex is not in the equation, can we have a mutual understanding? If sex is not in the equation, are we compatible? You want to know all of them, because once you start putting sex into play, the emotions start coming in. And guess what? We're human. It's going to happen, but you just want to know these things without sex. And again, to me, I just think it's a great discipline as well, because some people, again, like I said in the beginning, they look at you like you're crazy. Why would you want to do that? And if you feel the urge, go ahead and satisfy your urge. Not necessarily. Not all the time, but I understand we're all on different journeys, so it's to each is to its own. But for the people who are, I'm happy that yourself and me can talk up about it and say, hey, again, you're not alone. It is some work. It is a journey, but in the end result, you're going to gain so much.
Oh my goodness, you're going to gain a lot. You are absolutely correct. You're going to gain so much just from this journey. It's not easy. You're going to get tempted. You're going to have people who are going to disbelieve you. Right. Only because of the society that we live in, right? We live in this, free flowing, free going, whatever society. So whenever you do say, "Oh, I'm celibate," or "I'm abstinent," or whatever, right? People are like, "Yeah, right." And not because they think that you're lying. It's just the fact that the type of society that we live in, it's like, yeah, right, you can't be celibate. So, like you have to deal with the naysayers as well. It's like, yeah, no way. Like you're just saying it just to sound impressive. That's another thing too, right? It's impressive to say I'm celibate or I'm abstinent, but like, no, it's not impressive. When you're doing it, like I'm not going to be saying it just to be saying I'm saying it because I'm doing it, because you don't want to be found out to be a liar. Like you don't want to be someone who says one thing and does another. That ruins your character. So, I don't throw out my celibacy loosely. I only throw it out whenever it comes up.
Absolutely. And like you said, your integrity is everything, because that's what people go on. They base you on your integrity. And also too, you said something about, not letting society, put you down because, this is unheard of. But at the same time too, it's like, especially when a man wants to place himself there, and then on top of that, a black man, because you don't hear too many of them open up freely talking about this. And I wish they would, because there's nothing wrong with it. I know they're out there. Not. I don't know where they at. But let me tell you, the first brother, okay? And I love it. You are the first brother. And I'm like, yes, Lord, thank you. Where are more like him?
Wow.
Where they at?
where they at? Well, I too, know that they are out there as well. They may be few and far in between, but I am aware that they are out there. And I just think that, it's just more, I think it's one of those like societal norms. Like if there were a societal norm to talk about it or to be open about it, then it wouldn't be so taboo, but since it's not, since, we live in these crazy times that we live in, to say, well, I'm celibate, and people are like, yeah, right. Like right. Whatever, and it's just, you have to deal with that whole thing. And it can kind of depend upon how good your character is. You can either take it and let it bounce off of you. Be like, you know what? Like, why? And then you start questioning, man, why am I celibate? Because it doesn't seem to be doing anything.
Right. And you know what? My next question was going to be to you. See, you're in my head. I wanted to ask you, do you think there are we talked about the pros. We talked about, you gaining the clarity of celibacy. But do you think there are cons of being celibate?
Yes, there are. There are some cons. There are some physical cons. I have actually experienced one of the physical cons in the fact that, if you're not releasing, I'll use pretty, neutral terms here. If you're not releasing, then some of that essence can get backed up into you and cause like a bacterial infection. And you kind of have to get like antibiotics and treatment and stuff like that. I had to go see a urologist and different things of that nature. So there is a physical con to it. Now, I mean, from a body perspective, right, not for the lack of sex, but from a body perspective, from a release perspective, from a how your hormones and how the body's supposed to function. Yes. Right. Now that may not happen for everyone, but it definitely happened for me. Other than that, you lose that physical connection with someone. You might forget how it works.
Right. It's been so long. You'd be so excited. You'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you might forget how it works. You might lose your rhythm. Something to that effect, right? I mean, there are a few cons. Your ability to either maintain or be in a relationship might be compromised because you might deal with someone who feels as though that sex is important to them. And, if the two of you were to ever get to that point and you have to tell them, yeah, in case you kind of forgot what I said up front, or if you never talked about it up front and things get going because the chemistry is there, and then all of a sudden, it's just that one night and you're like, yeah, about that, that can kind of put a damper on your relationship or your potential for a relationship. And it depends upon the maturity and the understanding of your partner or that other person to say, okay, I can get down to get down, or you know what? Yeah, catch me when you're not. So there are a few cons to it.
Okay, so I do have a question for you because I'm kind of happy you touched point on the relationship part. Have you ever felt you ever had a moment where you almost slipped up?
Well, fortunately for me, I have not been in too many relationships since my last long-term relationship.
Okay.
My last long-term relationship, we were on and off for 10 years. That is a whole other conversation. We were the original Bobby and Whitney before Bobby Whitney. Yeah, people used to love laughing at us arguing, which is crazy, but they used to get a kick out of it. I don't understand why.
Because you know why? Toxic love toxic.
And yeah, it's like, yo, you guys are funny. No, we're kind of serious right about now.
Right. Hey guys, we are running out of time, but I thank you for tuning in and listening. Thank you for listening to part 1. Please tune in on Thursday for part 2.
Lady K.